The envelope was heavier than it should have been, as though it already carried the weight of what it would do to me. Its paper was thick, expensive, too refined for what hid inside. When I tore it open, I found hotel receipts, grainy photographs, and a note scribbled with nothing more than a room number, a time, and an address. Room 805. The Hilton. Her name was on the booking. The other name wasn't mine. I stared at the contents for what felt like forever. My chest tightened, but I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I simply reached for the watch she had given me on our 10th anniversary. The one I still wore every day, clinging to the illusion of vows already broken. The ticking of the second hand filled the silence, marking the quiet collapse of the life I thought we had built. We met in college. She had been fire and laughter, a presence that lit up every room. Her laugh wasn't just sound, it wrapped itself around people, pulling them closer. I fell quickly, deeply, and without hesitation. 12 years later, we had a house, a dog, endless bills, and nights of cheap takeout eaten cross-legged on the living room floor. Or so I believed. Looking back, the cracks had been there all along. The way she no longer hummed while getting dressed in the morning. The distracted look in her eyes mid-conversation. The phone always flipped face down. Kisses that felt practiced, mechanical. Excuses rehearsed, thin as paper. I ignored every sign, silencing the voice inside me, until that night at room 805. I didn't need to step inside. The truth was already clear. So I waited in the bar across the lobby, a drink in my hand, watching the elevator doors. At 11:43 p.m., they appeared. Her hair pinned up, her wedding ring gone. They didn't touch, but they didn't have to. I followed them home. Hours later, she slipped into bed beside me as though nothing had happened. That was the moment grief hardened into something sharper. Not fury, focus. From then on, I stayed silent. I collected evidence. I traced the charges, tracked her schedule, noted clothes perfumed with scents that weren't mine. She brushed it off with lies about new laundry detergent. His name was Alex. Married. 2 children. A CEO I had once respected. I discovered her second phone tucked inside a hollowed-out lotion bottle, a sloppy hiding place for a double life. Their meetings fit neatly into the hours she claimed to be at yoga. One afternoon, I watched from behind dark glasses at a cafe. He leaned in. She laughed, and her hand touched his arm the way it used to touch mine. The sting was sharp, but I didn't show it. 3 weeks later, I had all I needed. That's when I met Rachel, his wife. She was sharp, composed, and far more perceptive than either of them. At first, our conversations were harmless, coffee, polite small talk. Eventually, I asked her how her marriage was. She exhaled slowly. Tired. Quiet. I asked if she wanted the truth. She didn't hesitate. Her reply was simple. Let's destroy them. We chose the perfect night. The winter gala hosted by his company. Black tie. Crowded. A stage built for appearances. My wife wore red, the color she always chose when she craved attention. She didn't notice me immediately, not until I crossed the ballroom with Rachel on my arm. Her smile faltered, then froze. She reached for me. I stepped back. Rachel leaned in, her voice carrying just far enough. Is this the woman sleeping with my husband? The room fell silent. Conversations stopped. Eyes turned. I didn't need to raise my voice. I simply walked onto the stage, took the microphone, and thanked the guests for attending. Then I said, it's never easy to bring people together, especially when some of them have been betraying their families for the past 4 months. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I laid out everything, photos, receipts, text messages, calendar entries. The evidence was undeniable. My wife's face drained of color. She whispered, please let's talk. Rachel cut her off. Don't bother. Even your lies are predictable. Alex tried to protest, but I lifted a hand. Enough. You've had your time. Now we take ours. It wasn't chaos. It was precision. My divorce papers were already filed. By morning, she was served. Half our assets had been secured years earlier when I refinanced the house. She had signed the papers without ever reading the fine print. Rachel moved faster. She drained their accounts, filed for custody, and delivered the evidence to his board of directors. By Monday, Alex was out of a job. I left quietly, taking only my books and the dog. The house remained hers, haunted by memories I no longer wanted. Sometimes I still think of that night. The silence that followed when the truth shattered across the room like glass under too much weight. But what I carry with me now isn't pain. It's control. Strength isn't about screaming or breaking things. It's patience. It's knowing when to gather every piece and wait for gravity to do the rest. She thought betrayal would destroy me. Instead, I walked away with the only things that mattered: my dignity, my clarity, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that when the mask finally slipped, I was already holding the strings. Betrayal leaves scars. Revenge, though revenge is exact,